Welcome to part 4 of Practice ROR cards with me, where ROR stands for Rules of the Road. These cards are used by surveyors during oral examinations, used to test or assess the deck officer's knowledge of rules of the road and specifically about the kind of lights and signals that other vessels display so that they can assess the knowledge of the officer to take action when they see this vessel at sea. So without wasting any time, I'll straight away start off with the cards, but I will give you a link to the previous videos I have made in this series in the description section below. So when you see the first card here, this is one these kind of cards are my favorite cards. I've mentioned this in my previous videos that when I see a lot of lights on the cards, I like them immediately because it helps me to easily recognize what kind of a card this is, right? So I'll give you a few hints on how to identify vessels when you see cards like this. When you see the green and the red light at the bottom of the card, immediately you know these are side lights. And if you see both the side lights, you know that this vessel is basically end on, it's head on with your course. So this is that you are facing this vessel. Then you see two red lights and two green lights in a vertical line. Right? These green lights, two green lights and two red lights basically are showing a safe side and an obstruction side. Whenever you see a safe side and obstruction side, immediately it should tell you this is a dredger vessel. Alright, only a dredger vessel will have a safe side and an obstruction side. Then you see a red, white and red light in a vertical line. This indicates that the vessel is restricted in her ability to maneuver. Alright, so I'm breaking down these lights in my mind as the surveyor has showed me this card. I'm breaking it down and it's helping me to identify. When you see the two white lights in a vertical line at the top of the card, that's basically masthead lights. When I see two, I know that the length of the vessel is probably 50 meters or more. Alright, if it is less than 50 meters, there will be only one light at the top. So let's see if I'm right or wrong. So like I said before, this is a dredger, probably 50 meters or more, restricted in her ability to maneuver, with obstruction on the starboard side, making way seen end on. Alright, so why is it making way? Because you see both the side lights as well as the masthead lights. The obstruction side is of course the red side, so that's why, and the safe side is of course denoted by the green lights. Alright, for you, one shot, when you see a vessel like this, you will sound one shot blast and alter course to starboard because the safe side is on your starboard side, denoted by the two green vertical lights. The day signal for this vessel is ball, diamond and ball in a vertical line, which stands for restricted in her ability to maneuver. And you two diamonds in a vertical line on the safe side and two balls in a vertical line on the obstruction side. So those are the denotes the green and the two red lights respectively. These are the day signals for it. During the day, there is no point in switching on the lights, so you have to recognize the vessel by the day signals. And the fog signal for this vessel is one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts. Then we move on to the next card. The next card also has a number of lights, and this is also relatively an easy light. Whenever you see a few white lights, you should immediately associate this card with some kind of towing operation that's going on. Alright, you see so many white lights, is some kind of a towing operation. Along with that, you see two green lights as well. So when you see two green lights and they're horizontally separated like this, you know that there must be two vessels involved. When two vessels are involved, it has to be a towing operation. Alright, because and then you are seeing the starboard side of this vessel. Right. So let's see what kind of a vessel this is. But you should pause and think about what kind of vessel it is before you look at the answer. So every time I show you a card, do pause the video, look at the card, start noting down your own points, start noting down how you will associate each card if it's shown to you during exam. Write down the answer and then only match it with mine. So the card of course is saying it's a power driven vessel towing probably 50 meters or more because you saw two masthead lights, two white lights, or more, underway with tow 200 meters or less. If it's tow 200 meters or less, because if it's 200 meters or more, you will see three white lights in a line. And this is seen from the starboard side. As you know, you saw two green lights, it's a starboard side. If you see a vessel like this, you maintain your course and speed because you are the stand-on vessel. No day signal for this vessel, and for the towing vessel, the fog signal will be one prolonged followed by two short blasts, and for the towed vessel, it will be one prolonged followed by three short blasts. Let's move on to card number 3. So card number 3, again, lot of lights, my favorite. Again, the key point here is that when you see both the green lights and both the red lights, These are not side lights because I'll tell you why. So you see the white light at the bottom. The white at the bottom is placed isolated there, right? It's not at the top. If it was at the top, you would be thinking about it like a masthead light. But when you see a white light at the bottom, immediately it should tell you that this is a stern light. Alright, you are approaching the vessel from a stern. When you see the two green lights and two red lights, if you see both of them and you sometimes get it confused with side lights, you don't get confused because you can't have two green lights and two red lights as side lights, right? So these must be all round lights. When these are all round lights, immediately you know that this is showing an obstruction side and a safe side. And then the red, white and red light in a vertical line denotes it's a restricted ability to maneuver. Alright, so you note down these points and start jotting them down, or you start saying that to the surveyor. The surveyor will be impressed with your knowledge. Alright, so let's look at the answer. Like I told you, it's a dredger. It's a restricted ability to maneuver with obstruction on starboard side and making way seen from the stern. In this case, because you see the safe side is to your port side, two shot blast, you will sound two shot blast and alter course to port, because that will be the safe side for you. Don't go to the starboard side as a habit. Alright, look at the safe side and then go alter course towards the safe side, which is denoted by the two green lights, vertical lights. The day signal for such a vessel is ball, diamond, ball in a vertical line, which denotes the restricted ability to maneuver, and then two diamonds in a vertical line to denote the safe side, and two balls in a vertical line to denote the obstruction side. So by night, of course, it's two green lights and two red lights, but by day it's two diamonds or two balls. And the fog signal for this vessel is one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts. Then we have card number 4, and here you see only a green over a white light, and you see a red light somewhere on this side, right? The red light somewhere on this side basically tells you this is a side light. Alright, if this is a side light, this is a port side light. So you are seeing the port side of this vessel. You are seeing the port side of this vessel. And what is this green over white? So whenever there is green over white, it should tell you this is a trawler. Alright, so green over white denotes a trawler. And now if there is no other masthead light, it should tell you that it is less than 50 meters. Alright, these are some of the indications. So let's see if I'm right or wrong. So when you see that, you know that this is a trawler. It's less than 50 meters because one extra masthead light is missing. Making way, it's making way because you can see the side light and you are seeing the port side of it. So basically it's the port side of it. When you see the port side of it, you will sound one shot blast and alter your course to starboard to stay clear of this vessel. And because it's a trawler, the day signal of this vessel will be two cones with apexes together in a vertical line, and the fog signal of this vessel is one prolonged followed by two short blasts. Then we come to card number 5. Card number 5, if you think about it, it's pretty similar to the previous card, but with an extra white light. Alright, so what this basically tells you is that this is again a green over white, that's a trawler. The extra white light tells me that it's probably 50 meters or more. It could be underway, but it could be stopped or at anchor because I don't see the side lights, but I see the extra masthead light, right? These are two red lights in a vertical line, so it cannot be a side light. I see two red lights in a vertical line. But this aspect of the vessel and the way the masthead light is positioned, the extra masthead light, I can see this is like a ports aspect of the vessel. So these two red lights, if they are not side lights, basically they are denoting again an obstruction, as we have seen in the past. Whenever you see two red lights in a vertical line, it denotes an obstruction. So let's see if I'm right. Alright, so again, like I said, it's a trawler because the green over white denotes it's a trawler. The extra masthead light, white light, denotes is 50 meters or more. It's underway because I see the masthead light, but because I don't see any side lights, I know it's stopped or at anchor. The two red lights denote that it's fast on an obstruction and it's seen from the port side. When you see the port side, then you sound one shot blast, alter course to your starboard. Trawler again, day signal will be two cones with apexes together in a vertical line, and the fog signal is one prolonged followed by two shot blasts. Finally, we come down to the last slide for today. So when you see a green over white, you know it's a trawler. But when you see a red over white, this denotes a fishing vessel. Alright, when you are seeing only white light at the bottom, I have told you before, whenever you see a white light at the bottom, that should trigger a thought in your mind that this is a vessel that I can see the astern. So I am approaching it from astern. Alright, because this white light is not at the top. It cannot be a masthead light. This is at the bottom, so it's an astern. So what are the other possibilities here? So if this is a fishing vessel and not a trawler, and you see the white light, that means I am coming from stern. With fishing vessels, it could be underway, but it's stopped. or at anchor, because I don't see any side lights. So anyway, I'm approaching from stern, so I cannot see any side lights, right? Then let's see what else I can see from here, right? So the answer is making way, gear extending 150 meters or less, seen from a stern. Well, underway but stopped or at anchor, gear extending more than 150 meters. So you know why this is happening, because part A, if I assume this is making way, then I know that that white light, extra white light, it's because it's making way, so it's astern. All right, so in that case, the gear is extending 150 meters or more, less. But if I assume that it's not underway, it's not making way, it's underway but stopped at anchor, then that extra white light basically denotes that the gear of the fishing vessel is extended to more than 150 meters. Alright, so that's why there are two options. So these type of cards are quite tricky. It was tricky for me as well. Alright, so remember these little points here. So there could be two options with this, but in any case, both the options, whenever you see an option like this, you sound one short blast and alter your course to starboard to keep clear of this vessel. The day signal of this vessel, in the first case, if the gear is extending less than 150 meters, you will have only two cones with apexes together in a vertical line. But if the gear extending is more than 150 meters, then you will have an additional cone with apex upwards in direction of the gear. And the fog signal for this vessel is also one prolonged followed by two short blasts. Alright, so this was a tricky card. Remember this card, and I hope the tips that I give you in recognizing these lights and cards are useful to you. Let me know through your feedback what you thought about this video, and I look forward to putting up more videos like this so that we can practice our ROR cards together. Bye guys, I'll see you soon with my next video.